What if I told you that the leading reason most men over 60 experience weaker function in the bedroom has nothing to do with testosterone and nothing to do with aging? That in fact the main cause might be something far more unexpected, something as small as a vitamin shortage, a single missing nutrient that, when replenished, can dramatically transform how your body responds during intimate moments. I'm Dr. Mojit Kara, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping older adults address performance challenges. I've guided thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s to regain their confidence, vitality, and physical capability, not through invasive treatments or risky medication, but with safe, evidence-based approaches backed by science. And today, I want to reveal something most men have never been told. A common vitamin often linked to women's wellness is actually one of the strongest allies for restoring male vitality. Why? Because it not only supports healthy circulation, it boosts nitric oxide, improves artery flexibility, encourages natural testosterone production, and elevates energy levels. The best part? This isn't hype, it's real, it's straightforward, and it's something you can start working on today in a completely natural way. So stay tuned, because in just a moment I'll explain exactly how this vitamin works, how to use it safely, and why men who start now are experiencing impressive results without ever relying on a pill. Before we continue, if you haven't already, I suggest you subscribe and enable notifications so you never miss a science-backed health insight created specifically for men like you. And if this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0. Your feedback helps me improve and give you the guidance you truly need. Now that you see the potential of this powerful vitamin, let's explore the root of the problem, why performance naturally declines after 60. It's not just about hormones or desire. The real challenge lies deep within your blood vessels, beginning with the way your body ages from the inside out. 1. Why performance declines after 60. I've had countless men sit across from me in my office, looking down in frustration and asking the same question. Doc, why does this keep happening? And what they mean, of course, is that their performance isn't what it used to be, not as strong, not as dependable, and sometimes absent altogether. Many believe it's simply part of getting older, an unavoidable decline. But here's the truth, I wish every man knew aging is only part of the story. The real issue is the way our blood vessels change over time. As we age, our arteries, especially the tiny ones supplying blood to sensitive areas, become less flexible, more inflamed, and increasingly vulnerable to blockages. These small vessels are incredibly delicate, and even a minor reduction in blood flow can greatly impact performance. Add to that the gradual buildup of oxidative stress, sluggish circulation, and hidden damage within vessel walls. And it's no surprise things don't work as smoothly as before. But here's where the outlook turns hopeful, because the same biological changes that make performance harder are also highly responsive to the right kind of support. That's exactly where this often overlooked vitamin comes in. It doesn't just mask the symptoms, it addresses the core problem. Now let me explain why this one nutrient, often forgotten by men, is one of the most powerful tools for restoring strength and endurance from the inside out. 2. The forgotten vitamin behind male vitality. I remember the first time I read the research, a study linking a vitamin, one most men associate with prenatal supplements, to measurable improvements in male performance. Honestly, I was doubtful, but as I looked deeper, I couldn't ignore the data. This wasn't fringe science, it was solid evidence. And it changed how I treated older male patients from that moment on. The vitamin is folic acid, also known as vitamin B9. Most men have never considered it important for their own health. It's rarely mentioned in men's wellness ads, yet it plays a crucial role in processes that determine whether you can achieve and sustain performance. This small, water-soluble nutrient is essential for cell growth, DNA repair, and the production of red blood cells. More importantly, for our focus today, it has a direct impact on the vascular system and how blood moves throughout the body, especially to sensitive areas during intimate moments. I've worked with men in their late 60s and 70s whose challenges weren't due to lack of interest, but to a body that simply couldn't respond. Once we corrected their folic acid levels, something remarkable happened. Their energy returned, their confidence grew, and their relationships improved. That's because this vitamin doesn't just support performance, it strengthens the entire system that performance relies on. What truly sets folic acid apart is how it interacts with your blood vessels, especially through its effect on a specific molecule that drives every instance of physical readiness you've ever experienced. And that's exactly what we'll cover next. 3. Folic acid and blood flow, the real key to male performance. When I speak with my patients, men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I always return to one fundamental truth. Without healthy blood flow, performance is impossible. Not a weak one, not a partial one, none at all. It doesn't matter how much testosterone you have or how strong your interest is, if blood can't reach its destination, nothing happens. And this is why folic acid matters more than most men realize. Folic acid directly influences a molecule in your blood called homocysteine. You may never have heard of it, but high homocysteine quietly damages your blood vessels from the inside out. It roughens the lining of your arteries, making them stiffer, less elastic, and more prone to plaque buildup. And the tiny arteries that supply the most sensitive areas? They're the first to be affected. I've seen this repeatedly in my clinic. Men with low folic acid often have higher homocysteine levels and more difficulty achieving full performance. The good news is folic acid helps lower homocysteine, protecting your arteries and allowing blood to move more freely. That means when the moment arrives and you feel ready, your body can actually respond. And when healthy circulation is restored, everything starts to change: stronger function, better endurance, greater confidence. I've had patients who thought they were beyond help tell me, "Doc, I feel like I'm 20 years younger." And that's not an exaggeration. Because what folic acid does for your arteries isn't just physical, it's personal. And what if I told you folic acid does something even more powerful than restoring blood flow? Something that works in a similar way to what certain well-known medications aim to do, but naturally. Let me explain. 4. Folic acid boosts nitric oxide, the gas that drives male performance. If there's one molecule that determines whether or not a man can perform, it's nitric oxide. Not a hormone, not adrenaline, not testosterone, nitric oxide. It's the silent spark behind every strong, lasting performance you've ever experienced. Without it, nothing happens. With it, the magic returns. And this is where folic acid reveals one of its most powerful and overlooked roles. I remember explaining this to a patient in his early 70s. His confidence was low, intimacy with his wife had faded, and he was convinced he'd already tried everything. When I told him that a common vitamin could help his body produce more nitric oxide, he stared at me in disbelief. But the science supports it. Folic acid fuels the enzyme system responsible for creating nitric oxide in the inner lining of your blood vessels. This nitric oxide signals those vessels to widen, allowing blood to flow in rapidly and fully, especially to intimate areas during arousal. Here's the key. Nitric oxide is exactly what medications like Viagra and Cialis aim to imitate. But folic acid helps your body generate it naturally, without side effects, and without forcing an artificial process. It works in harmony with your system, not against it. For many men, this leads to firmer, more natural responses, ones that feel authentic, not mechanical. And when that happens, everything shifts. You stop worrying. You stop second-guessing. You start feeling like yourself again. But folic acid's benefits go beyond the moment. It's about lasting vitality, because what it does for your hormones, your energy, and even your fertility may surprise you. Let's explore that now. 5. Testosterone, fertility and energy. The supporting cast. When men come to me about performance concerns, one word almost always comes up immediately: testosterone. And yes, it's important. Testosterone drives motivation, strength, mood, and your overall sense of manhood. But what many don't realize is how deeply testosterone is connected to other systems in the body, and how nutrients like folic acid quietly sustain that entire network. I recall a patient, 64 years old, who said, "Doc, I don't even feel like a man anymore. My energy's gone. I'm tired constantly. I can't think straight." He wasn't only describing low testosterone, he was describing the slow breakdown of a system neglected for too long. That system needed rebuilding from the foundation up. Folic acid became the turning point. Folic acid supports the creation of red blood cells that deliver oxygen and nutrients to your muscles, brain, and reproductive organs. It helps regulate the nervous system and plays a role in producing neurotransmitters, chemical messengers that influence mood, concentration, and even desire. And in the testes, where testosterone is made, folic acid helps maintain healthy cell activity and shields against oxidative stress that can gradually weaken your body's ability to produce this essential hormone. The result? When men restore healthy folic acid levels, they often feel sharper, more motivated, and yes, more confident in themselves. Their vitality returns not because of a miracle pill, but because their body is finally supported where it matters most. But there's another important point. Even with a balanced diet, your folic acid levels may still fall short. So, let me explain exactly how to get enough and how to do it the right way. 6. How to get enough folic acid. The safe, doctor-recommended way. One of the most common questions I hear after explaining folic acid's benefits is simple. "Okay, doc, how do I start?" I love that question. It means a man is ready to take action. But getting enough folic acid isn't just about buying a supplement. It's about understanding how your body uses it and how to make sure it's absorbed effectively. Folic acid naturally occurs in leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, and collard greens. You'll also find it in beans, lentils, avocados, and some fortified cereals. However, most older men, even those who eat well, aren't getting enough from food alone. As we age, our digestion becomes less efficient, and certain medications can block absorption entirely. That's why I often recommend a high-quality supplement, especially for men over 60 experiencing low energy, sluggish circulation, or reduced performance. The general recommended daily intake is 400 micrograms, but in clinical practice, slightly higher amounts are sometimes used safely to support cardiovascular and male health. For maximum benefit, folic acid works even better when combined with vitamin B12 and vitamin C. Together, they boost absorption and create a powerful synergy that supports both the heart and hormonal balance. I always remind my patients this isn't about taking huge doses, it's about consistency. When you give your body the right nutrients every day, it rewards you in ways you may not have felt in years. But folic acid's impact goes far beyond blood flow or energy. What it does for your long-term health, for your heart, your brain, and even the way you age is something every man deserves to know. 7. Bonus benefits: heart health, brain function, and longevity. I often tell my patients, when a nutrient is good for your heart, it's almost always good for your performance, and folic acid is a perfect example. While we've discussed its role in restoring blood flow and supporting testosterone, what surprises many men is just how far its benefits extend. Folic acid doesn't just support the arteries that matter for intimacy, it benefits the entire cardiovascular system by lowering homocysteine levels. It reduces vessel inflammation, lowers plaque risk, and can even help protect against heart attacks and strokes. For men over 60, that's not just valuable, it's life-saving. And the benefits go beyond the heart. Folic acid plays a critical role in brain health, supporting memory, mental clarity, and protection against age-related cognitive decline. I've had men tell me, "Doc, I didn't just feel better physically, I felt sharper, more focused, like the fog was gone." That's not just in their imagination, it's real biochemical support for the nervous system from one often overlooked vitamin. Even the aging process itself can slow when your cells get proper support. Folic acid works as a powerful antioxidant, shielding tissues from damage over time, helping you stay stronger, clearer, and more resilient as the years go by. Helping your body resist oxidative stress and cellular wear. That means more sustained energy, healthier skin, stronger immune function, and yes, a longer, more vibrant life. And when you combine folic acid with the right minerals and supporting nutrients, the results can be even more impressive. So next, let me show you how to unlock that synergy and why 2 specific minerals might be the final missing pieces in bringing back the man you remember being. 8. Real talk. Why this matters after 60. There comes a point in a man's life when the mirror doesn't lie. You see the changes, the weight that's harder to lose, the energy that fades earlier in the day, and maybe most challenging of all, the quiet erosion of confidence when things no longer work the way they used to. I've sat across from hundreds of men in this exact situation, and every time I can feel the frustration and disappointment beneath their words. But here's something I've learned after decades in men's health: sexuality is not only about intimacy, it's about identity. It's about feeling strong, desired, capable, and alive. And just because you're in your 60s or 70s doesn't mean that part of you disappears. It may change, but it doesn't vanish. In fact, I've seen men rediscover a level of closeness in their later years they never thought possible. When we talk about folic acid, testosterone, or circulation, we're not only talking about biology. We're talking about restoring self-worth, about reconnecting with your partner, not just physically, but emotionally. The look in your partner's eyes when the spark returns. The way you stand taller when you know your body is working with you, not against you. That's why this matters, because it's not just about performance. It's about presence. It's about feeling fully alive in your own skin. Now that you understand the deeper emotional side of this journey, let me leave you with one final thought. The simplest step you can take today to start turning this around. Beginning with a choice that could transform the next decade of your life. 9. Final thoughts. Start today. Start small. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear from older men is quiet resignation. They believe it's too late to feel strong again, too late to enjoy intimacy, too late to change. But I'm here to tell you, not just as a doctor, but as someone who has walked this path with thousands of patients, it is never too late. The body still listens. The body still responds. Sometimes all it needs is the right kind of support and the willingness to begin. You don't have to transform your whole life overnight. You don't have to chase some impossible version of who you were at 25. What you do need is consistency. One small decision today, a healthier meal, a daily supplement, a walk instead of the recliner can lead to lasting change. Folic acid may seem small, but inside your body it's doing the heavy lifting, protecting your blood vessels, fueling your energy, supporting your hormones, and helping you reclaim something deeply personal, your vitality. I've seen men who believed they were finished rediscover a part of themselves they hadn't felt in decades. Not because they tried to relive their youth, but because they strengthened the man they are today. That's what this is all about, not turning back the clock, but honoring your years by living them fully. So if anything in this message stayed with you, let it be this: you don't have to settle. Your best days can still be ahead. And the path to feeling strong, capable, and connected again begins with a choice, a single step forward. And the time to take that step is now.